All right, folks, I hope that you enjoyed that first session. Last week we talked about, oh no, I'm not supposed to do that. I'm supposed to say at Wholehearted Living. Welcome to Wholehearted Living with
Valerie
and Bennie.
See, I do better than you.
No, you don't. Last time you said Wholehearted Living or something like that. So no, at Wholehearted Living. Guys, we're really glad that you joined us. We are doing a second episode to something that happened with our mom, and so you can listen to the last episode to find out what happened to her. We're going to be joined in just a second by my sister, but we basically gave the whole details of what happened.
She's my sister too.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, so last episode was just basically the timeline of events that things would happen with mom, and now this episode is going to be more geared toward how we handled it as siblings. Like, I'm just amazed when you hear about people that say, oh, I'm not speaking to my sibling anymore after working through whatever illness.
Well, and we even have,
had.
I even think about our dad and things that happened with our grandma, and that was not a great situation at times.
With their siblings.
The way they dealt with it.
Right.
So we really, I honestly am proud of us for how we dealt with it. Mostly me, because I think I was excellent.
I think you were not the excellentest.
The excellentest.
You were the least excellent.
Yeah. Iggy, thank you, by the way, for keeping us in sound. This is Iggy. Iggy's married now for 4 weeks. Woo!
That is true. It is 4 weeks.
Well, actually, by the time they hear this, it's probably going to be 6 weeks.
6 or 8 weeks. Are you still happily married?
Yeah.
Do you remember who you're talking
6 or
to?
8 weeks.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So remember who you're talking to. Are you still happily married?
Yeah.
Okay.
Always.
Always. Nice.
Always.
Very nice.
Forever.
You guys do look happy. All right, guys. So I hope you enjoy the second episode to hearing the story of our mom and dad in the sibling episode.
So without further ado,
here we go. All right. Well,
really
thank you, Stephanie, for being here again. And what we're going to do now. So last episode, if you didn't know, our mom went through some significant medical stuff. And so there's a lot of details in last episode. But
so I would actually highly recommend listening to that. Then you'll understand why we're doing this.
Why we're doing this part. So what we're going to do this part is we're really just going to talk about how we three, and maybe as a family too, interacted, because obviously our kids were involved. Life was still happening. You have a young kid at home. You have one kid in college. And so it's like, one of my daughters gets married. I was supposed to go to a conference. So there's all these personal things that are going on. Or I should say, things that are, because I guess this is personal too, but I mean, there's things that are going on in life as well as this,
and our jobs too.
And our jobs,
we
of course.
All took days. Yeah. Well, not you, but we took days off.
Yeah, no, I did try to take some time. I know it was very awkward.
I know it was hard.
Yeah. Sadly, but so anyway, so what we're opening it up to now is, I'm curious. I'm going to just say what I believe is a fact. I think we handled it really well as the three of us. And I'm curious, because this is where the wholehearted living thing comes in. Why do you think that was? What do you think? I mean, I have some ideas of why I think we handled it pretty well. Why do you guys think?
Well, I feel like we should kind of start out saying how we handle it. Like what we did, we initially we made a sibling text, and I think that was crucial because what it gave us was kind of an ongoing report of how mom was doing,
and also a venting place for the three of us, and an emotional support place, but.
And also
we all
coordinating who's going to be coming at what time.
And we all wanted to be there for mom. So it worked out perfectly to where Benny was always like, well, I can go early before my session starts. So he was always there like at 6 a.m. And then Stephanie and I would alternate either the day or the time in the afternoon-ish. Or we would take the day off.
Yeah.
And we did that in the very beginning as well because she had just had the surgery. Somebody always wanted to be around her. We always wanted to be around. Dad was always around her.
Our dad, as much as we, our dad's got his faults, but man, he was there all the time.
Yeah.
He showed up. And he's not physically able to do that. I mean, that was not easy to be there every day. It just kind of reminded me of even though it irritated me, but it reminded me of the fact that he would always go to my baseball games, even though he worked ridiculous hours, but he would always show up at games. And it was, but he really did show up.
He was there every single day until the day we said, which was just
this past Saturday.
Yeah, we said,
last weekend.
You need to take a day of rest. And otherwise he was there every single day, without a doubt.
And we had to kind of convince him of this. And the way I convinced him of it, I was the one that ended up calling him. The way I convinced him was, you're going to be better to mom if you've you've had a little bit of sleep. And so that was the way that happened. But I think, one of the things that I think we did really well, and I don't know if you guys would agree with this, I think all three of us are very capable of handling things. There's not a single one of us that aren't. But we decided in the beginning that, Valerie, you were going to be the spokesperson for the siblings. It's not that we didn't have an input. It's not any of that. But we kind of thought, like when I talked to a nurse, I said, actually, you're going to go to, they would say, oh, can I talk to you? More than once I had somebody say, can I talk to you instead of your dad? because dad would get very emotional and very whatever. I'd say, actually, we decided that you're going to call my oldest sister. And honestly, there's times that it's hard because it's like, I want to know, but you were very good about communicating with us. And so it was like, but it was just, I think there was something about the fact that for me at least, there was a trust factor. It was like, okay, we don't need the chain of command to be going. Not a chain of command. We don't need all this
3 different or 4 different directions.
Yeah. We kind of knew this is the way it was. And we really did do a great job of the three of us communicating. Because every time one of us visited, we'd say, she's doing this now. She's did this now. And then we'd leave with, this is what happened. That's the way it was.
Yeah.
So I found that, I think that was really helpful, at least for me, because it was, I just felt like, okay, we know what we're doing.
Yeah.
And
I don't even know how it was assigned, but we just did it.
We just did it.
And the funniest thing is I felt sorry for Stephanie because Benny would get there at 5:30 in the morning and I'd be like, how's mom? Because I was wide awake already at 4. Well, I get up at 4:30 every day. And then all of a sudden we're in the group text. I'm like, poor Stephanie's phone's going ding, ding, ding,
Yeah,
ding. Exactly.
I would wake up to 20 texts.
Oh my God. So I do want to say this. So the very first night, if you listen to the last podcast, when I took my mom to the hospital, this is so funny because I'm texting like crazy because I knew Stephanie wasn't listening. I thought Stephanie's not listening. And at that point, it wasn't urgent. There was nothing urgent. She wasn't getting surgery. She wasn't dying. It was just information. And Valerie was not texting, like you were not putting check marks or anything. And so I thought, great, I can send as many texts as I want. No one's paying attention.
They don't know.
And around 4:30 or 5, finally Valerie starts commenting and I'm like, and then later, and then, whatever, it gets to around 9 o'clock and I finally call Stephanie's wife to say, okay, Stephanie needs to read her text. and so then Stephanie's like, I'm reading them right now. I can't believe this. And she's freaking out.
But I'm laughing because I'm texting you going, oh my God, my phone was going ding,
well,
ding,
so then
ding,
what I
ding.
said to Valerie is, I said, Valerie, I'm so tired because I've been up all night. And she goes, well, so have I. And I'm like, what are you talking about? She goes, well, every time you text, and I go, why didn't you put a check mark? I would have stopped texting as much as I was. But I
was like, there's no reason to respond. I don't want to wake up anymore because I feel like, okay, once we get,
the only reason why I was so active is because I thought no one's listening. And they'll all figure it out when they wake up.
We were all listening. Trust me.
Once they wake up. Yeah. But you were so funny because at 9 a.m. you're like, I have 30 texts.
Well, Benny and I are very early risers.
Yeah.
But no, in terms of,
and I have to say, when they say that, I would get up at 6 to 6:30. So it wasn't like I was getting up at 10.
Yeah. We're very early risers.
Yeah.
No, but it's funny because we talked about this right before the podcast started, and we were talking about how we felt like we did really good with our communication and how we all worked together. Like, are you going to go? We're going to go. I'm going to go. Can you go? Can you, whatever it was.
Because like for you, Stephanie, we had to sometimes kick you out and say, not kick you out, but say, Steph, it's okay to you need to spend time with Jolie.
Well, that's the thing. You had a Jolie at home.
Yeah.
And so, but you had a Jolie at home. But my point was, I can't tell you how many people have asked through this whole experience first of all, some people that I work with or whatever didn't know I had siblings, and they're like, oh, do you have siblings? Are they able to help? I'm like, well, yeah, I have siblings, and yes, they're helping. And so, oh, how are you guys working together? Great.
Yeah.
Like, it's better than ever. And because when my mom was in the hospital, oh my gosh, I got in a fight with my brother, and then he wasn't coming, and then I couldn't speak to, and I was like,
I hear the same thing.
That's crazy. Because
Yeah.
we haven't had, as far as I know, we haven't had any one time that there was a.
And I think it goes back to ego. Like I don't think any of us, our egos weren't involved in this. It wasn't about like who gets to do this more than the other person. Who's the contact person for the doctors? They're the ones who are really important. It wasn't like, in my mind, it was like, oh great, Val's going to take care of that. That's awesome. Then I don't have to worry about it, you know.
Right.
And I know that I can trust her to text exactly what happened.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was like a trust issue.
And
too,
I never felt
being
like
able to trust.
and once people started saying like dad or you, like we're putting you in charge, I give him your number. I mean, and I never felt like, oh good, I'm in charge. I just felt like, okay, I hope I can rehandle this. You know
honestly,
what I mean? Like,
honestly, I'll be honest with you. I felt bad for you at times. I honestly felt bad at times. What I mean by that is I felt like it was, I felt like you were, you know, we had to put you in this position of taking on this responsibility, and it was a big responsibility. It was a big deal, and that to me was a big deal that you guys had to do that.
I didn't mind
Sorry.
it, and because of for many reasons I didn't mind it, but for one, I know that sometimes dad is hard to talk to, so I would just say to dad, let me call them, you know what I mean, or let me, you know, oh, can I give him your number then? Yes, give him my number, you know, but, and I know that it might be, and I didn't, and I know Benny has counselor appointment, so I thought, or you know, therapy or whatever, and I thought, oh, he probably can't take a call if it's from a doctor. If I see, during this time, I never have my phone out at work. During this time mom's in the hospital, I have my phone or my watch available. If I see a phone call from Lomita where the hospital was, I run out to the side and take the phone call.
Oh.
And I did that like 3 or 4 times. I didn't know your work situation. I wasn't sure if you could just jump up out of a therapy.
Speaking, no.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I had no problem doing it. And when I did see it was Lomita, I'm like, oh my gosh. Then I realized it was the person that handled the whole case, the case manager. And I'm like, oh my God, let me take her call. And so I had no problem doing it, but I immediately wanted to text you guys like, this is what they said. This is what's happening. And
well, so that's another thing that first of all, Stephanie, I like what you said about ego, because I really, I didn't catch that. And, but there was, but I agree that I think that ego was never involved. It was just, what are we going to do? It's our mom.
yeah.
That's all there is to it. There was never
who
a
can
question.
handle whatever, it doesn't matter. Like, as long as we're all getting the same info and as long as we're all have the same goal in mind. It didn't.
Which was really just to be there as much as we could for mom, and also in many ways kind of figure out how to help dad with he's so worried all the time.
He was very fragile.
That his anxiety made him a little crazy sometimes, where he would just be like,
so somebody had to be there to cushion it.
yeah, exactly. So it was kind of like a little bit of that, and we kind of committed ourselves to, like, we wanted mom to wake up and see a smiling face, not just dad's, of course, but somebody else that, you know, was smiling there and being positive. And because, you know, dad in his worry sometimes didn't express positivity. Sometimes he would be so anxious. He tried
well,
to.
Sadly,
he did try.
He did a lot. I'm not negating that at all. But sometimes he would be like, oh, I just can't stand this is happening to you and stuff like that. And then she would get really like more.
Then she gets concerned about him.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is that she would go into caretaker mode. Here she is, the one that's hurting, and she would be in caretaker mode.
And she would even say that, well, I worry about dad. Like, Mom, worry about yourself right now.
Right. Yeah. Or don't worry about anything.
But I do have to say, I'm not trying to derail this conversation, but we have Stephanie. Well, Stephanie's our sister, but my sister-in-law, Stephanie, she had taken a couple days off, and she went. Patty, your wife, went and stayed a couple days. Trinity did. Nicole did.
Iggy came at least twice to the hospital without Trinity.
Yeah,
Patty
just
did.
came. Yeah,
She came.
Right.
Patty
and so
did
there was
multiple
so
times,
many. There were days that were like, I can't take any more days off. And then Stephanie, my sister-in-law Stephanie, would say, I'm
Yes,
gonna
folks,
go.
we have a sister named Stephanie, and she married Stephanie.
Stephanie.
And you know what, guys? So that you can distinguish them, you can call
They
them
both have
Stephanie
a
Marie,
Marie.
right? Nope, they're both Stephanie Marie.
But then Patty would go in. I don't remember if she took a day off or she had flexible days.
She
and
did
was
take
able
at
to
least
go.
one day. She took off at least one day,
Yeah.
and then she did have some days off.
And then Nicole's, because she would drop her girls off at work or at school, and then she would go stay with Grandma.
And then I remember
And
with
then-
Nicole coordinating, okay, I'll be home. I'll be there at this time. And Nicole said, I'll wait for you.
And then you showed
And then
up.
I showed up. And then, and then one of you guys, I think you showed up after me.
Yeah.
And it was like, yeah. So we really tried to make sure that Mom was always covered with someone other than Dad. And I think you make a good point about the fact that we had to really, I guess I knew this, but I didn't know this, but that we were intentionally doing it. Because honestly, I was more empathetic to Dad than I've ever been in my life. Because, well, first of all, because honestly, this is hard. This is his best friend and honestly
Yeah,
the closest
it's his
person. It's his everything. And so he was, if there was a time for Dad to be nervous and freaked out, this was the time. And so he had a legitimate reason for feeling like freaked out. This was unlike other times when he freaks out, that his tires are going to go flat, even though they're brand new, if he's going to San Diego. But now it's like, no, we also are in this limbo land of wondering what's going on and why isn't this. It was a weird feeling.
And I remember many times feeling uncertain myself, but then reassuring Dad.
Yes.
Because I knew that there was no use in. I mean,
Adding
there was
fuel to
one point I remember when he said something, and I said, "Yeah, you're right, Dad." Oh, it was when we weren't sure, and we were trying to push them to check about the strokes. He's like, "Well, they're telling me this," and I'm like, "No, I'm on the same page with
Yes.
you.
I did
agree.
too.
This
I
is
said,
totally wrong."
well, same thing about the same thing about the strokes. That's when I said I called Dad after the stroke thing. I think I texted you guys and I called Dad. I said, Dad, that's legit. There's something wrong. You need to keep doing what you're doing. So yeah, that was a freaky thing. But so going back to, I wrote down a couple things. So one of the other thing I wanted to know, and I'm curious if you guys did this, but I'm curious of one of the reasons why we were able to do it, because I think you still went to the gym. I still tried to do some self-care.
Oh, I 100%. And I even talked about it on my stories. I feel like I can't be of any help to anyone if I don't take care of myself.
Yeah.
And so if I'm depleted, if I'm not fueling my body properly with food or moving my body, I feel like I'm of no help to anyone. Now, granted, I'm not going to, if I'm supposed to go see Mom at 10 a.m. or 3 p.m., whatever it is, I'm not going to, you know what, I'm going to go to the gym first. No, I made sure I went to the gym by 6 a.m. and I got my stuff done.
Right.
But it wasn't like I just said, oh, I'm in a very sad state because of my mom. I'm not going to eat right. I'm going to fuel my body with crap and I'm going to lay around all day till I go see Mom. I really found it important to make sure I was taking care of me so I could take care of somebody else.
Yeah. I mean, I still worked out. And then the other thing was, I tried to keep I didn't keep my routine. My routine was totally off because I would have to, because often it doesn't matter, but because I was visiting in the morning and that would kind of throw off certain things. But so my routine was completely off, which was really weird for me because I'm very routine oriented, but the things that I did do to make sure, okay, I'm going to keep doing these things because it's important for me, because I'm no good to anybody if I don't work out. For me, that's a big deal. And even if it's a 10-minute Apple workout or a 20-minute Apple workout, I had to do something.
A walk around the block,
and I usually
whatever,
did a walk. And then for me, I often went, because of where Mom was located, I was able to go for a very early morning swim, 4 a.m. And then I would go, and then I'd get to her hospital about 5:15 or something like that, 5:30. And then I wouldn't start texting you guys till about 6. But the thing is
Wrong.
that, sometimes early. Sometimes early. It was earlier? Okay.
I guess it was me asking, like,
So yeah, so the thing, yeah, I guess I was texting earlier. Okay, but the other thing that I thought was interesting is that I remember there's only 2 times in this whole experience where I kind of went offline, and I remember I went to a birthday party and I wanted to be there for this guy. He invited me. Only 6 people were there, and I just remember texting you guys saying, And I looked at my friend across from me. I said, "What's your phone number?" And he told me it, and I put it inside the text. And then I just said, "I'm turning off my phone. If there's an emergency, call this number." And I'm tearing up a little bit because it was really, really hard for me to do. But I thought,
you don't want to get the random little mini text like, "Oh, she's eating well. Oh my gosh, she used her left hand."
I wanted to be present for my friend.
Yeah.
And my friend afterwards goes, "Why did I do that?" I mean, I had his number in my thing, but I was like, he's like, "Why did you just ask me that?" I said, "If there's he already knew all about this." I said, "In an emergency, they're going to call you. Is that okay?" And he's like, "Oh, of course." And then really 2 hours later, I'm like, "Okay, I turn it back on," and I'm back online. Yeah. But it was like,
but you know what's really weird is that I really felt like I had it all together, and I did take care of myself. I did eat right, and I did, whatever. But Peter was like my sounding board, because then I would come home and I would just kind of almost melt. I could be real, and I could be frustrated with how Dad did or said things, or I could be sad about Mom. Like in front of Mom, I'm like, "Mom, you're doing so. Mom, you look good. You look pink. You have skin. You moved your left arm. All that stuff." And then I would come home and go, "Oh my God, I don't know what's happening." Yes. And it was like, so you feel like you hold it all together, and then there's a part of you that just, like you and I, when we talked on the phone that day, we both just started crying.
Yeah. Did you, Stephanie, what about you? Did you do anything for self-care?
Well,
or
I have
keep
to
your
start
routine?
self-care routines in order to have things.
Did you start one?
No. I would say, I think the biggest thing for me was Steph. She, through that whole time, she was there for me. Like, she was like, "You need to stay. You need to do what you need to do so that you can feel you're doing the right thing by Mom, and just what you feel like you need to do."
Yeah.
And just knowing that she was taking care of Jolie and doing all those things, and like you said, a soundboard, because there was times where I'd come home and I'd just be like, driving home and be talking to her and telling her something that's going on or something that happened, and then other times I was just, so I would say that's the main thing that, I did all I still ate and did all that. A couple of times though, I kind of faltered on that.
You're like, I just want whatever.
Yeah. But I just wasn't.
Well, I did the same thing.
Really hungry a lot.
I know. Isn't it crazy what stress can do? Even though I kept saying that I don't feel stressed, it's crazy what stress can do, because suddenly I'm like, I just don't even really have an appetite. So I know that's stress, because I don't know what else. Why other reason would I not have an appetite?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because I do remember the one time I remember many times, Patty was always like, "Benny, if you need to go, go. If you need to stay, stay." And because, and I'm really not saying this to pat myself on the back, but for those of you guys that follow, that I'm a huge Chiefs fan. And I missed the first Chiefs game, which was going to be a big family event. It was actually going to be a family birthday party. I missed the first Chiefs game. I missed the second Chiefs game.
You didn't miss much.
That's true. And then the second game I missed because, this was a great thing because I got to be with my kids for my daughter's wedding. So that was wonderful. But then also I've been planning on being part of a conference for a year, and I was going to be the chairman of a certain area, and we've had a year's worth of meetings to make this happen. And that was the day that she had her seizures. And I just finally said, I'm done. I'd already been preparing them that I'm not sure what's going to happen. I'm going to limit my time and da-da-da. And then when she had the seizures, I said, I'm not going. I'm done. I can't go. I can't even think. I can't even focus. And that was the day that I came home. And I cried with you guys. And then I came home. And I remember walking in the door, and Patty looked at me, and she just knew not to say anything. She just hugged me, and I just wept. Wept. And it was I was just I mean, there was just many different times.
I think there was, what's really interesting, because so many people were like, I think we talked about this, like, were you scared, like, for the craniotomy, the first surgery and then the craniotomy, and I'm like, no, I just felt like she would come through it and all would be well. And I did.
Yep.
It wasn't until she had the mini strokes and the seizures that I'm like, I'm starting to feel a little fearful. I'm not really sure.
The stroke thing scared me more than anything, because the stroke thing, honestly, I was wondering, I did more than once wonder, is this going to be our mom?
Right.
And I had to start resigning myself to that.
We all said that. Is this what we are going to have to deal with?
And I was trying to get my head around the fact that, okay.
I immediately started texting friends that I knew that Maribel, his dad, has stroke. And I'm like, how long was your dad in rehab? When did he start regaining walking? When did he, blah, blah, blah. And then another friend of mine who I used to work with, her mom went through it. And I was like, what happened? You know, I really wanted to know, like, what are we looking forward to? Or what could the possibilities be?
It was really fascinating to me, because as quickly as she went down, she went up. Because after the strokes, that Friday was horrible.
It was like 2 days of, well, it was like she had one day where it was kind of bad. Then the second day was really bad.
Really bad.
Yes.
And then the third day, it was like
she moved
just
her
started
finger.
going up.
What
And
happened?
We're just like,
She lifted her arm.
Exactly.
And then by the time dinner came, she's so funny because she could do this with her fingers. Like if you could see me on Instagram, on YouTube, she was wiggling her fingers a little bit. So then dinner came. And so she's eating with her right hand. And all of a sudden I go,
you just said she's eating with her right hand.
Well, I'm holding this with my right hand, so I can't do that. Eating with her right hand. And so, and then, and her dinner came and I go, Mom, I go, can you hold the roll with your left hand? You know, and she's like, it took her a long time to get it out under the blanket and lift it up. And then I put the roll in her hand. She grabbed it, and it took her quite a while to get to her mouth. But I'm like, oh my gosh,
that was a miracle.
Yes, I was like, this.
And then so that was Friday. Friday was the worst day. Saturday was the day you're talking about. Sunday, she's talking normal, but not normal, but talking.
Yes.
You could totally understand. She reminded me of a little kid, because she's very smiley and just whatever. But I just thought, honestly, there was a part in Saturday and Sunday that I thought, did I need to cancel going to the conference? Because it was like, it was like, how in the world did she go from 2 strokes, not being able to move? She didn't even see me.
Well, as fast as she plummeted, then that was as fast as she started going back up again.
It was crazy. And by early that week, she was at rehab again. And then they kept her in rehab for a very long time.
9 days.
But what I think I appreciated a lot about you guys was that I felt always in the loop of what was going on with Mom. Even things, I got to the point where every morning like the last 5 days or something, I look at my phone, there's like nothing there. And I'm like,
I know.
I guess that's a good thing, I think.
I know.
It's kind of
I felt the same way.
Yeah.
And one day when she had the seizures, Dad screamed at me because I did not have my phone on. I had I had it so it vibrates, but that was loud enough to wake me up with you guys. So I thought it would. Yeah. And he's like, I called you already once, and then I called you again. You need to keep your phone on from now on. Keep your phone. So I started keeping my phone on completely, everything, like full blast. And then nobody was really texting
afterwards. No,
everything was going up.
The worst thing that happened after that was, the worst thing was, honestly, that was the worst part for me probably than anything, except for the time that we were back in the rehab center, Stephanie, when it was me and you. And I'll never forget, and I'm going to try and communicate this verbally, but those on YouTube can see. But I remember that there was a cord, and she was trying to grab it, and she kept missing it.
That was at rehab?
And that was at rehab. Not at rehab. It was in the hospital of the rehab hospital.
Yes.
And she was going like this.
Yeah.
And I just remember looking at that saying, oh my God, is this... And she was smiling. Like, I don't think she knew what she wasn't getting. She didn't realize she wasn't getting it. She was just kept doing it like, well, that thing must be in a weird way. I mean, she wasn't like going, why can't I get this? She was just kept trying.
It's like honestly, that whole period of time is like a blur to her. Because I remember talking and saying a few things to her about it, and she's like, oh really, she's like,
I was
really
explaining
surprised.
a bathroom situation with her when the nurse took her into the bathroom, and I was explaining this whole little scenario, and she didn't remember any of it. She was like, oh, I don't know.
Guys, our time is our time is,
I was going to say this real cute, how cute our mom is. This will end it on this note, but
I was going to end it on something else.
Oh, well, I'm going to end it on this note, and then we can sing another note. No, there was one day that I happened to be with her. It was probably the Saturday before she was released. She was released on a Thursday, so I was there with her Saturday through her rehab, and I thought it was so cute because one of the, I know I shared this with you guys, but one of the things that they did was they had sticky notes down the hall, and so she's like, I want you to tell me the letters and the numbers on all the sticky notes as you walk down this hall. So mom she has to be forced to turn left to right. It's basically to see her work on her peripheral and stuff. Yeah. So then she's like, oh, I see B. She would say B green, and then she'd go K yellow, and then she would keep, and then so we got to the very end, and the therapist is like, okay, you can do that again, but make sure you look up and down, and also you don't have to say the colors of the Post-its. You can just say the letter or the number. She goes, no, I want to say the color. It makes me feel smarter. And I was like, you know what? That's why she's improving so fast, because she's like an overachiever.
And then didn't she go?
Had a sense of humor.
She was so funny. Patty kept on saying, "This stroke's making you funnier." She kept saying,
she was very.
She's
funny.
very funny. Yeah, but
and do you remember the prayer when we were laying in bed? This is before her surgery.
Oh yeah!
Oh
my gosh! There was times when mom would be sitting there, and a guy would come up and give her like take blood, and she'd go, "You're good looking."
And then the next guy would come, and she goes, "And you're cute too."
You're cute too. And we were like, "This is our mom."
No, but I thought it was funny when we were praying for her before the first surgery, and I was like, I don't remember exactly what I said about. Dad said the whole prayer, and then I jokingly said something about, and also blah, 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 blah. And then mom goes, and while you're there, can you get rid of all my wrinkles? And it was just like,
yeah, she was still very much there.
Funny. Yeah.
Okay. One thing I was going to ask you guys, what is one thing that you'd recommend to our listeners, anybody that's going through something like this? We've talked about a lot of things, but is there one thing that sticks with you that you would say, hey, this is something that would be really helpful for you in something this difficult?
I think Stephanie actually hit the nail on the head with don't have an ego. If you're working with other people, whether it be your siblings or your spouse or your in-laws, whatever it is, if somebody's ill, I think that's
do it for the betterment of the other person.
point.
That's
It's
it.
not to have an ego.
But now that means, Stephanie, you can't use the ego one, so
I stole
you got to get.
That sucks.
So you got to do another one.
I just think one thing that really helped was allowing space for everyone who wanted to. Allowing space for us to be able to be ourselves and utilize our strengths. I had certain strengths during that time that were useful with Dad, maybe about certain things. And everybody has their things that they're better at, or that they can bring to the table. Just allowing for all that space. We had amazing family. I just have to thank all of our family members that came.
Yeah.
My mom wasn't thrilled about having people outside of the family come to visit her.
For those of you that don't know, my
grateful.
mom wakes up at whatever time she wakes up, and within 15 minutes she has all of her makeup on and all of her things done. And so for her to be in the hospital and not look perfect, she wasn't excited about visitors, especially in the beginning.
Felt crappy too.
And she just felt crappy.
I don't want people to see me like this. I don't want to talk to people like this.
And she wanted to just rest, and we would all let her sleep when she needed to. I remember Trinity brought homework, and just said, I'll just stay when she's awake. I'll talk to her.
And we would all were very comfortable saying, Mom, if you need to close your eyes, and she would. Yep. And we would hear her snore.
And that's a key thing is letting the patient guide you and what needs to happen. And sometimes even when they're just like trying to please you by being awake, you have to kind of be the one to say, no, I think it's, you're tired.
Totally. And recognizing that. But I will say to that point, going with our strengths, I think my strength was like, okay, let me make that phone call. Let me take that call. Let me do that. Yeah. Because there was a time in the hospital where Dad was like, I think she's cold. Do you think she's cold? I don't know. She's not. She doesn't look cold. I think she's cold. Dad, if she's cold, she'll tell you she's cold. Right. I think she's cold. I think I'm going to get a blanket. I'm like, oh my God. I wanted to reach up and grab him. And Stephanie's go, I got this.
Yes.
And then she called me back over, and I was like, okay, thank you. That was her strength.
I think both Stephanie and I could do the dad thing a little bit. You were not so good with that.
No, I was like,
that was not your thing. But you know, what's interesting is that Brene Brown talks about there being overachievers and underachievers whenever there's a crisis. And it's really interesting because honestly, I would have thought that Stephanie would have went into overachiever mode. I would have thought she would have like gone, okay, I got to totally take control. And for whatever reason, we put, like, I think because we mantled you with that. I mean, very unofficially. It's not,
very unofficially.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Very unofficially.
I wouldn't have never even thought of it that way until you started talking about it. But that's kind of what.
That's kind of what happened. But the thing is that you took over those roles, and it was great because I think So I think one thing that's important is that there is like an understanding of, is there somebody that and allowing everybody to take their part, no egos, that's the thing. And then I brought up self-care, and for me self-care is a really big deal because it's very easy in these, it's been 8 weeks or no longer than 8 weeks since her original fall.
Yes.
And so, but she's been in the hospital for 7 weeks now, I think. So
it's going to be sick. It'll be sick. It was
and I did have self-care. I had Nuggles with my daughter, and that was Snuggles. Okay, we call them Nuggles. And so I did do things like that to kind of, you know, those were the things that mattered.
If you abandon yourself and you don't take care of yourself, you're just no good for anybody. And it's super important, which is kind of what we did with Dad at that very end. I mean, not that I think he was doing some things, but the big thing is that for me, at least, it's like I felt guilty sometimes going swimming first. I thought maybe I should just go right to the hospital. I thought, no, if I go straight to the hospital, I'm just not going to be good the rest of the day, and that's going to mess me up. And then the next day, what does that mean? And so just taking that time, it didn't matter. It was an hour. I didn't go to the steam room. So I would swim, sweat, shower, and leave. And so, whereas I have a different routine otherwise, but it was like, okay, I'm going to do this part and then I'm done. And so just having some kind of self-care routine.
I think if we're talking to the listeners about, if you're ever in this situation, first of all, you do need to take care of yourself, because you're no good if you're not taking care of yourself. You need to, in order to take care of somebody else, but also whoever you're working with, to maybe let the strengths fall into place without pushing them into place. Like you said, I don't think anybody pushed anybody into the place that they were in. It just fell that way. Right. And it worked out.
Well, and I think what's interesting is that if we would have assigned any of us, quote unquote, to those roles, we could have all done it. It's not a matter of capacity, which is where the ego thing comes in. But on the other hand, if all three of us were doing it, we would have just irritated the case manager. We wouldn't have been resolving anything. We would have been driving them crazy.
Like I said, when she called me back and Dad's like, I've been trying to get a hold of her all day. How did you get a hold of her? I'm like, I'm not calling her 35,000 times, leaving a voicemail. Anyway, but so it's just one of those things where it fell into place because of how it fell into place, and maybe it doesn't always do that for other people, but I think that we worked through it.
We did
so good.
Yeah.
And Mom said she will never do this again until the summertime when we have it off.
Very good. All right, guys. So thank you, Steph, for joining us today.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
No, I mean, thank you guys for everything.
I know it was worked
out. I know we really
well.
are. I mean, this kind of turned out to be a little party night, but we still have to have our sibling party night.
Yes.
So we got to do that.
We do.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for listening to Wholehearted Living. We're going to get back to normal soon. And so you can get us at wholehearted_living_podcast for Instagram, and you can see us on YouTube.
Send us to a friend. Spotify.
Yeah, and listen to us on Spotify. Iggy, thank you for keeping us in sound.
Thank you,
We're always so grateful for you.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And we will chat with you later. Bye.
Ciao.